Hello and welcome back to another video. It looks like a great day there behind me. It is a bit showery though, unfortunately, but compared to what we've had, we'll absolutely take this. But today anyway, I'm bringing the cows in, so they will be in for winter now. In fairness, they are pretty much out of grass where they are, and I can't move them in the evenings after work because it's dark now. So I'm just going to bring them up today. They've been looking at me for the last 2 evenings, wanting to get out of there anyway. So I'd say I could nearly open the gate and they'd find their way up here, but I have a bit of help. So we'll get them up, get them in, and give them some silage. Ideally, I would clip their backs and tails now today as well, but the forecast is very showery for the whole day. And they're already damp as well anyway from the rain overnight, which look isn't ideal, but it's what we have at the moment. So I'll leave them in for tonight, and then hopefully I'll be able to do their backs and tails tomorrow, because the afternoon looks quite dry tomorrow. Whether it will be or not, I'll have to wait and see, but the plan will be to bring them all out, do their backs and tails. And I also need to replace the ear tag on one of the cows that is going to the factory. I don't know where she left it, but we got a replacement for her anyway, and we'll put that on. I'll try the wheelie bin trick again, and hopefully that will work out okay. The stores and weanlings are staying out for another week. I have been overruled on this one. I just wanted to be done with it now and bring them all in this weekend. And I don't know what I'd do with the 2 cows, throw them into the pen for the few days, and hopefully we can get rid of them early next week. But Dad wants to leave them out. There is still a good bit of grass up there, I do get that, but it is very miserable going up in the evenings after work. So maybe I'm just being a bit selfish, but it's not nice being up there in the dark and the rain, trying to feed them their meal and then waiting for them to finish their meal so I can take the trucks away and all of that. But look, we'll give them one more week out there. I don't think they'll get a whole lot more than that out of the grass. The weather seems very mixed. That's what the meteorologists are telling me. Dad then is trying to convince me that the weather is going to be absolutely grand. So we'll see who's right with that one. But I think now next Saturday they'll all come down. The 2 cows should be gone to the factory at that stage, and we'll get them in. But sure, look, I'll update you on that. It'll probably be a separate video, but hopefully I'll be able to update you on prices and things like that as well from the 2 cows. I also got my chainsaw sharpened, and I'm going to try and do a bit of clearing with that. I'll show you exactly what I'm doing when I'm down there. So I'm really banking on this tomorrow afternoon being dry, because I have a list of jobs to do. But look, for now we'll get the cattle in. I might go up then and move the weanlings back into the reseed. I took them off it for the really heavy rain, but now that it doesn't seem to be that wet for the next few days, I want a chance putting them back on it, get them to feed it a little bit better, and we'll see how they go. So yeah, we'll get stuck into it. thankfully the weather forecast was right for the next day, and I got a nice dry spell out of it, which was great. So I was able to get my few jobs done. The first being clipping the backs and the tails of the cows. So I brought them out. You will see here that the crush is kind of swaying in parts, and it's not that I'm ignoring that. I did have a look at it before I brought the cows out, because you can see there, Big Mama Snowflake is fairly wide and she puts a bit of pressure on it. The reason for it swaying is the first two uprights you can see there are just on their last legs, to be honest. Not ideal, I know. It will be replaced, but I did check it and it would stay standing for the job. The recording here isn't great because the cows decided to stand as far back as they possibly could from the camera, so you can't really get a good look at it. But I usually do maybe 3 to 4 runs down their back with the clippers, because they're quite wide animals. This is done to prevent them from sweating in the shed over winter, and it's important at the moment because it's very mild. And it also tends to help thrive, so it's good for the younger cattle to get it done as well. I do the tails then as well. I take all the excess hair off the tails because first of all it keeps them a bit cleaner, but also if they have any dung or anything on their tails, if that builds up, it kind of prevents them or makes it more difficult for them to raise their tail when they're doing their business, which can be a bit uncomfortable for them. So by doing this, it just, keeps them all a bit more comfortable and a bit more content over the winter, I guess. And you'll maybe see the job done there. Doesn't look great. They keep hitting off the camera as they go through because they're so wide. But that's the first lot done. And it was just 2 more left to do after that then. well, I have a few more jobs ticked off the list anyway. The cows were great with the clipping, in fairness. And do you know who was the best? Norma. And she'd never admit it to you, but she thoroughly enjoyed getting her back clipped. But yeah, it's gas. Once you start doing them, they all go very quiet and they're quite happy with it. They'll do a bit of moving, but they're quite happy to have it done. But I found then when I moved on to the next one, they got a bit antsy and weren't overly happy. But I suppose the shaving or the clipping kind of soothes them in a way when it is happening. So they're nice and tidied up anyway. I've given this one here a few more kg. She has as much of it on the ground as she does in her stomach, I'd say, at this stage. You might say, geez, that bale looks bad. That is one of last year's bales. And yeah, see how wet the ground is? Just water pouring out of the thing. But I have about, I'd say maybe 6 or 8 more of them that I just need to get through. And yeah, I'm being fairly generous with them because I just want the silage gone. My wheelie bin kind of let me down there, so I used it again to put the tag on this one. Maybe I should have turned it the other way. Now, I did it the same way as I did it with the heifer, I'm pretty sure anyway. I suppose the big difference there is that heifer was just over 600 kg when I used the wheelie bin to stop her head going down. She is probably high 800s now, and I suppose even that, she just has the power, and she went down on her knees and that's what did it, and the lid flipped up. It didn't hit me or anything, it was fine, but it could have. So yeah, I guess head scoops are are a good invention after all. But yeah, next thing I'm going to do is just clear out the crush, because I'll show it to you there in a second. It is absolutely destroyed in hair from them. Couldn't believe the amount of hair on them. So I'll tidy that up, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to ring Rob and get him to come down, and we're going to go doing a bit of chainsawing below while the weather is still dry. It has held up for now, but it's gone very dark, so we'll see even if we could get an hour, and I'll show you what we're at down there then. Now ignore the fact that I'm covered in sawdust, but we've the majority of that section done over there. We're not going to get all of it done today, but we've made good enough inroads there, and I'll come back now on my next day off and try and clear away some of it. I'll probably have to break some up into a few pieces because there's some massive branches there. In fairness, I didn't realise how thick some of them were, and it just goes to show the chainsaw, the chain just needed to be cut. Fairness to that pole saw, it's getting through some fairly thick branches there now, so it's all good, and it's really handy for exactly this job when I'm reaching up high. Another one I want to do here now is this tree. You can see the ivy is suffocating it. We did come down here and cut the ivy at the bases there maybe 2 years ago. This one is still finding a way up it. But anyway, we'll cut it again here now today to try and give it a chance. But we're going to take one of these trunks here, and the reason for that is because Dad actually told me just the last day he had a cow. I don't know, was it a cow or a heifer, but he said of course it was a good animal, a good few years back, but it was as if she was like reaching up to eat the ivy off it or something. Didn't she get caught between the two trunks? And he said she was probably there all night, and I think he spent over a week trying to move her and turn her, and had the vet out and trying to get her up, and nothing worked in the end. She had to be put down, and I do not want a repeat of that. So I'm going to take one of those tree trunks, and hopefully then the other one will continue to grow up. But yeah, how easily these accidents can happen, and yeah, I can see exactly how that would have happened. So we'll get rid of that there now next, and that might be the last bit of action now for the day. I'd say I'll be a year trying to get the sawdust out of my hair. Why didn't I put my hood up, would you tell me? But anyway, that's it for this video. Not a whole lot going on. To be honest now, if there isn't a whole lot going on for next week, I will just probably skip a video. So if you don't see a video next Thursday, you'll know why. Look, it's farming. Something will usually come up, but as I mentioned before, it's quite difficult now at the moment with the late evenings when I'm getting home from work. There is nothing I can do really apart from feed, and I definitely can't be recording much. So just in case there is no video, that'll be why. But we do have the 2 cows heading off, so there'll be a bit of news after them hopefully, and things like that. But two YouTube channels that I would recommend if anybody is looking for something new to watch. Number one is Darragh Walton. He is a suckler farmer. Now he does dairy to beef as well, but he has a big suckler herd, and he has cattle that any suckler farmer would be envious of. So if you like that side of the house, definitely check him out. I'll put the names down here anyway. But yeah, he's a bit of a jack of all trades as well, so you'll see a little bit of everything and good variety on his channel as well. And the other one then is Amy Coonan, who is again a suckler farmer, but she also does some dairy calves to beef. And yeah, she knows her stuff. She's a good operator. So both of them are relatively new. I think they both started this year, maybe the end of last year. But yeah, 2 good channels to check out. But I'm going to leave it there for now anyway, and hopefully we'll see you next week. But if you liked it, give me a like, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Thank you.